morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, creepy friends. Welcome to Nick's Robs. It's my birthday eve. Ha, yes. I'm getting old. I guess I shouldn't celebrate that. Oh well. I teased this on Twitter. If you follow my Twitter, you don't have to, there's no stress. But I thought that for my birthday, or in celebration of my birthday, and since I've been a little bit quiet for the last 9 months, we would do a 2-day Thunderbird special. So before I go into the first one that we're going to do, and you'll know by now it's the Stately Home Robberies, which I've said I'm going to do for like over a year. I think new episodes came out and then I had my little hiatus. There's nothing wrong with having a hiatus from this. It's all good for me. And also because I've been a little bit sparked out on lovely Piriton due to the allergy, if you saw that loveliness. I didn't really want to do things while I was too out of it, but I've lowered the dose considerably of this now because, as you can probably see, my skin is much improved. I don't have so much anymore. I've still got some areas up on my shoulder. Before we get into any of that, that was what I was going to start with. You'll probably have seen the teasers floating around on the TVs saying that we're going to get some new Thunderbirds episode this month, which is September. Can we just talk about the trailer for a second? Lizards. It's all about the lizards. I scanned through one or two other things, but as soon as I saw them damn real lizards, especially just a couple of weeks after doing Attack of the Alligators, I just went... the fangirl just went, real lizards! Everything just literally went in for me and just... every part of excitement just exploded. I was like, they've done it. They've actually done it. And I think it's kind of the one thing that every fan has said is lizards. It's been on the tip of everybody's tongue. And that's the episode I want to see. I don't care about anything else. It's just that one. I know that the View Cinema Thunderbirds thing is happening. I think the episode I've seen that they're doing out of the 1965 lot was Abominable Snowman. Have I got that right or wrong? I think it's Abominable Snowman, which we've done. We did that a little while ago now. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Am I going to go to the View thing? I think I'm busy that day. I'm not quite sure. I'm sure I've got something going on. So I can't promise that I'll go. Decided yet. So we are here today, as you'll see in the lovely title, to, excuse me, finally cover the Stately Home Robberies, and I'm glad I have my voice back for this because just after getting this rash, I got a horrible cold for a few days. Still a little bit croaky, throat's still a little sore, but I don't sound nasally anymore and I can actually breathe again. So it's all good, I'm happy. I don't care about the throat, it's just the breathing I can't stand. This is, if you're not aware, Stately Home Robberies is a 1965 special one that was released on the DVD. It's a radio cast that they've turned into an episode in the 50 years, yes it was 50 years, honouring of Thunderbirds as a whole. And these episodes, if you've not been familiar with them, if you've not seen them, are a fan's dream. They are new age old episodes, if that's a phrase. They are absolutely tremendously done, and I really, I can't applaud the people who had a hand and say and did this enough. They... really weird noise out there. They are really well done, exceptionally well done. They are exact, and I'm going to mention quite a few things in here, but there's just so much about them that I still love to this day. You know what? I bet it's my makeup mat that's fallen in the bath again. We'll look in a minute. So, Stately Home Robberies across England are being robbed and apparently blown up. That was kind of the one. It looked like someone got blown up in the first Stately Home. I was like, okay then. What happened to that poor guy? So Jeff Tracy, of course, he's very worried that Penelope's next. She lives in a big stately home, Crichton Ward Mansion. It's Manor. But she's relaxed as usual. She just goes, oh, Jeff, I'm going to be fine. Don't worry about it. In fact, she's actually counting on these guys coming into her home and raiding her lovely antiques and jewels and all the expensive things that she has, because she is royalty. Dawkins and Charles are the robbers, and they have an agenda. There's a reason they're doing it. We don't quite know what it is at the time, but he keeps saying he's gonna get revenge for his family or honour his family in some way, and it's all a bit like, what? What Penelope doesn't know is that she's already been marked. There's already a listening device placed on the wall of her house outside, and they are literally listening to find out when she's not going to be in so that she can be robbed. Lovely people. When they do find out she's going to be MIA because she's going clothes shopping at Whitford's, they decide they're going to drop in. So the interesting thing with this is we've never ever seen another person in Penelope's mansion bar Parker. So Dawkins and Charles, who are the two robbers, they knock out everyone in the house. They send a gas bomb through the fireplace and knock all the staff out. They say servants. I don't like that word. I suppose it's like an older word, but I don't like that word. I prefer staff. And that's an interesting thing itself, because I say we've only ever seen Parker. And while Penelope's out trying on some lovely new old-fashioned modern-day outfits at Wickford's, she sees that the alarm's been triggered and decides, oh, I'd better go home now. Just when her and Parker are driving home, they see a helijet. Elijet, was it? No, it was an Elijet, wasn't it? And then a home. I love Parker's speech. David Graham is a genius, and he's spoken about how we'll go Elijet and then go Hintu later on and use the H in a different way. It's genius. I still love it to this day. They see it taking off from Crichtonwald Mansion. Crichtonwald Hall? Is it Hall? I don't know. I'm kind of lost. I feel like I'm really screwing up with that. I'm sorry. They initially think of Parker suggests knocking the helijet out of the sky, but Penelope says, no, if you do that, you're going to break all my valuables. I'd rather you didn't do that. So instead, they throw in a listening device of their own. This listening device will come in handy later. They do find out, however, that the Tower of London and the Crown Jewels are the next stop on the robbery list. Okay, then. Penelope knows they're not going to be believed if they went to the police and said, you know, this place is going to be robbed. I mean, let's face it, it's just a little bit unbelievable. Wouldn't you agree? I think it's a little bit unbelievable. You turn around to the police and go, oh, by the way, these stately home robbers, they're going to go and try and get the Crown Jewels next from Tower of London. You'd laugh in their face, even in today's society. So they decide they're going to go off and do it by themselves. This episode is predominantly all Parker and Penelope up until pretty much this point. Next day, they go in just a little, they tail them, go in just a little bit after Dawkins and Charles, watch them collect all the Crown Jewels and then confront them. Penelope's got one of those lovely modern day guns. They are just still one of my favourite things ever. Those little guns, I love them. They have my heart. Those little, I love whoever created those guns. If you know who had the idea for those guns, it may have been Jerry Anderson, bless your heart. I just think they're amazing. So in between all this, Penelope has sent an emergency code to International Rescue to let them know that something's wrong, she's going to need a little bit of help. But obviously in the midst of confronting Dawkins and Charles, one of them, and I think it's Charles, decides to throw a nice little gas bomb at Penelope and Parker, which knocks them clean out on the floor with a bomb. They're going to blow up the Tower of London. When did this become V for Vendetta? Good thinking, though. Oh, Guy Fawkes. That's the other one, Guy Fawkes. I'm thinking V for Vendetta. His name was on the tip of my tongue. Guy Fawkes. They're trying to be Guy Fawkes. One's Guy, one's Fawkes. There you go. There's a little bit of a plot hole here with regards to the gas bombs. When we initially see Dawkins and Charles enter, they knock several beefeaters, love the costume by the way, out with the gas bombs. Now, they're standing right close to them. So the beefeater, Penelope and Parker, they all get knocked out by the gas bombs. So how are Dawkins and Charles totally unaffected by these gas bombs? How do they not breathe it in and get knocked out themselves? Little one there. So Scott and Virgil and Gordon have already launched. And unfortunately, there's no John and no Alan in this episode. But they can't get hold of Penelope because obviously she's knocked out on the floor. They're trying to contact. So what they then have to do, they've got Thunderbird 2. Thunderbird 1's up there. I don't quite know why Thunderbird 1 is there. So it's a mystery of my life sometimes why Scott does go to every mission. I know he does control it and essentially play Jeff at danger zones. But sometimes he's there and he doesn't do a lot. He doesn't do a huge amount in this episode. Not insulting him. It's always good to have a little bit of Shane Rimmer's voice on a Thunderbirds episode. Virgil has to release Gordon, who goes underneath the Tower of London and resurfaces to disarm the bomb. A little bit of a sweat on the brow moment and the angry face expressions there while he stands there. There's weird things going on in this house with wires trying to decide how to disarm the bomb. He does. He revives Penelope and Parker, who then go right after Dawkins and Charles again. Again, we come to the decision, do I knock them out of the sky? Parker says no. I'm thinking Scott's going to be behind on Thunderbird 1, but apparently he's not. They do instead the little listening device that they planted on the little helijet a couple of the day before. They explode it and they go down with the Crown Jewels. Not quite sure how the Crown Jewels are not going to be exploded, but Penelope's valuables were. I did love it when they come down and they're just sitting there like blown up and all exploded in the ground. Penelope confronts them and it turns out there's some kind of aristocracy debate between Charles's family and the royal family and the Crichton Ward family. It's all a little bit odd and all a little bit strange, but hey ho, they're going to jail. They try to take Penny down with them, but she's like, you know what, you're not going to succeed, no one's going to believe me. And the next day, in the papers, they're saying Penelope this, and the papers don't believe her. Brains gave her some kooky little device that only records male voices. Parker's would have been on that though, because he does speak, so it doesn't matter when they get there. But hers wasn't, so she's acquitted, nothing happens, they're in jail, her values are going to be returned. All's well that ends well in a lovely 1965 revival episode, and it was the last one as well. So there's a little bit of sadness once that last credit comes up and you just think, that's it, there's nothing more they can do with the original cast. Well done though, guys, honestly you did a phenomenal job with all 3 episodes. Now, in the midst of watching this, I don't know if it's an Easter egg, you guys are going to have to tell me about this. I came across a small clip in loving memory of the late Sylvia Anderson, which is Penelope talking about different things. And it's almost a little bit eerie, the way they've done it. I don't know where they got it from. There's clips of her and Tintin in the Sham Sham episode, other episodes here and there, where they're just basically paying tribute to Sylvia Anderson. This had to have happened just before they released these DVDs. So how they managed to get it all on the recordings, I don't know, but they did. It was a very fitting tribute, very well done. I don't know if it's an Easter egg and I've just accidentally found it, but I found it, and yeah, it was a really nicely done one, guys, well done. When they're going through the first stately home, did I or did I not see Portrait of a Gazelle? Someone's gonna have to like tell me there. I'm sure I saw Portrait of a Gazelle. I love the real beach scene for Tracy Island as well. They come in and when they come into some of the shots of Tracy Island, it's a real beach scene with palm trees. It's proper old-fashioned shots as well. Again, it just makes your heart melt for that kind of thing. They definitely got it right with the real scenes, the real limbs and stuff. You know what? I had to look up Wickfans in case it was actually a real vintage brand. When I heard it, I was like, is that a real one? Should I be looking up clothes from there? Because one of my favourite vintage brands is Blaine's, which went bust in about 1960s with the rise of department stores. There's a dress from Blaine's right here. Wearing that tomorrow, actually, I think, if the day's going to be as chilly as I think it's going to be, because it's all lined and nice. But I had to look it up. It's not a real shop, but it could have been, because some of those clothes I was like, aww. I love how the creators of these episodes have kept the futuristic 1960s future still futuristically old-fashioned. That's a little bit of a tongue twister. What I mean by that is when Penelope sends her emergency code to Jeff, when the beads glow up, Jeff still gets a little note through that he tears off. Now, they could have done that in a million different ways. They could have made that distress code, they could have put it on a monitor, they could have sent it through a computer. They didn't. They still thought, how would we have done this in 1965? So that was a good little touch I really appreciated. Just to touch on that moment as well, I love how Jeff reads it and goes, bomb! Really bomb! Ah! Like Penelope hasn't been in all these kinds of situations before, guys. Come on. Let's remember like episode 5 where she's lowered down to be nearly crushed by a train. By the way I've seen this episode and viewed it, this seems like the most untouched recording in terms of additional scenes. The main one that I could find is the guy selling newspapers at the very start of the episode talking about the stately home robberies. So if there's more additions that I've not seen, then they are so seamlessly incorporated that, again, it's just another way of saying well done to the people that have made this. If there is more, I didn't see it. Again, I'm kind of always looking for stock footage of Thunderbirds and what they've made themselves and what they have and haven't done themselves. But all in all, I think compared to some of the others, certainly where Abominable Snowman is concerned, where you know that it's a newer piece where they're standing there talking to the newscasters about the snowman. I can't remember that episode very well. I've only seen it a handful of times. But different bits with that where it was easier to see this is new recording, this is new vocal, all those kinds of things. This was probably the most untouched one I saw. I've also just remembered as well, great shots of the real feet when they're walking around the Tower of London with their legs. I was like, loved that as well. Great touch, great vintage touch. I gotta give it up to him though for that scene of Parker imagining himself in all the crown jewels with the royal cloak on, standing there going, blimey. That was just, I love that bit. I thought that was a genius moment to include, because he always imagines himself rich, and you can always tell that it's behind, but to actually see it done like that was a real sort of good fun moment, but also a really clever little addition to add as well. Unfortunately now, that is the end of ever being able to talk about these 1965 episodes, because I've done all 3. There's nothing else for me to do with these. But tomorrow we are going to do the most requested one that you guys chose. Every time I do a vintage episode, I always say to you guys, what one would you like me to do next? And I will act upon that. For some reason, you guys chose the Duchess assignment, or that was the majority vote. I don't know why you chose that one, because it's not one of my personal favourites. In fact, I want to box the Duchess in half the time. Great vocal acting from whoever did voice the Duchess, but she does annoy the hell out of me. So I don't know why you guys suggested that. It's an interesting episode, but yeah, that's the one coming tomorrow for my birthday. And I'm going to give you guys obviously the chance to choose the next one. I don't know if we're going to manage to get one in again before the series starts. There's rumours that it's going to be in the next 2 weeks. Somewhere said the 30th. I genuinely don't know when it's coming back. You would think that they would try and incorporate it maybe the week after the View Cinema thing is, because everyone's going up to View Cinemas, but then they're going to watch the first episode. Surely that's a little bit of an imbalance. Who knows? I don't know when it's coming out. I'm just waiting like you guys. Thanks everyone for being here for another edition of Thunderbirds. I'd love to have you subscribe to the channel if you're new. I seem to be stuck on 775 right now. I don't know why. I'd love to get more. My current mental dream is 1,000, and once it's 1,000, it's like, let's get to 2,000, let's get to 3,000. So yeah, maybe you'd like to join. You don't have to. There's no pressure. Leave me a comment. Tell me what you thought about the Stately Home Robberies, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Number 1, let's get this primarily right for my birthday, and number 2 for the Duchess assignment. Bye everyone.